are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Hello, I am your Superintendent, Jason Manuel. Thank you for joining us for the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence. Today our show will highlight a nationally recognized athlete and her coach, Jenna Kemp, and Coach David Wolff from the Houston High School girls soccer team. Later in the show we will watch a performance by the Houston High School German Folk Dancing Club and then talk to their sponsor Doreen, Penrod, and Allison House about international culture and coursework at Houston High School. But first, we are excited to welcome Mason Grace and Christopher Cooper back to the studio to discuss what's in store for the district in its first year of full one-to-one device implementation. Thank y'all for being here. Let's define one-to-one for those people watching who don't know what one-to-one means.
One-to-one is the ratio, the device ratio, meaning one device per student. So every student gets a device.
So when we first talked about this plan and that we were going to provide devices to students, why not just go all in and start going with devices for every student?
Well, we knew that what we wanted to do is we wanted to be one-to-one within 4 years and kind of spread it out year by year. So add a year add a grade or 2 grades a year until we got 4 years later when we were fully implemented. And we stuck to that plan. We did that for a few reasons. One is with one-to-one, the research showed that we really needed a learning management system to go with it. So you have, we implemented Schoology as well. And so there's a big learning curve for teachers to go along with that. So we thought it would be best to focus on a small focus group instead of trying to work with every grade and every teacher out there, but to kind of start small, make those teachers, experts, spend as much time we can with those teachers, and then kind of let them be the experts the next year and kind of spread out from there. And really another part would be when you're adding different programs, different devices to the network, you want to make sure that you want that to be a gradual approach anyways. You don't want to overload it right away. You want to kind of add some, see how it works, do some tweaks, add some more, and go from there.
So what's the real instructional goal? So I know it's not so that everybody can go home and have Netflix on their computers at their house or play video games at home. Why do we really have one-to-one devices for all the students?
Well, we know that this is their future. We know that a lot of college courses are going online. We know that pretty much most college courses require computers for their lessons, and then any job you have you're going to be on a computer at some point. And so we really want to prepare them for the future. And there's so many jobs out there, and like we think about computer programmers, and we think that used to be such a sought out job, but now every company out there is going to be looking for a computer programmer. So that's going to be a job that's going to be huge, sought out. So we want to make sure that we're preparing our students for what's there for them in the future.
So Chris, tell us a little bit about what you do. You've got a new role for the district. How does that relate to the one-to-one initiative?
So as a blended learning lead, I get to spend a little more time working on some of the products that serve our one-to-one program, such as Schoology. So Schoology is a learning management system that we have, and it's sort of I consider it the cornerstone of our one-to-one program because it becomes the online environment where we can set up resources and tests and quizzes and assignments, and each teacher has their own area in Schoology, the course page, and so it also helps with communication between teachers and students and also teachers and parents, and so it becomes sort of a hub of communication and learning in the classroom, and it's just sort of an environment where they can place resources and lessons. So I'm sort of able to manage that and take care of whatever needs we have with maintaining that product.
So from the parent's perspective on the outside, what's the difference between our learning management system, Schoology, and Skyward? Because we hear you talk about Skyward often. What's the difference between the two?
So Schoology is mainly used for academic, for lessons, for delivery of lessons, for assessments. Skyward is our student information systems, which is housing our data, student information, data, attendance, grades.
And if you don't mind me jumping in,
go ahead.
actually Skyward is going to have your official grades in it, the official attendance. That is what reports to the state. So that does our state reporting. Schoology, we may take some grades in there, take some quizzes. Those will write over to Skyward, but those aren't the official final grades. They're just quick little grades we take in Schoology.
So let's talk about how many devices total do we have in the district? So we talked about this one-to-one initiative, because this was a different deployment than we had in year past, and it took some planning ahead of time to really figure out how could we get all these devices to students. Tell us about how many devices and how it works.
Well, if you're just talking about 6 through 12, for the students, we rolled out about 3,400 devices this year. So we did that in 2 weeks. We rolled out 3,400 devices in 2 weeks. The technology department did an amazing job. John Burnett's kind of been spearheading that. He had a great idea of how that would roll out. We all kind of got together and worked through it and thought it went pretty smooth. However, the tech team also did a full refresh of teacher computers this summer. Plus, we don't just have laptops in 6 through 12 or devices in 6 through 12. We're actually close to 2 to 1, at least we're really 3 to 1 in the elementary. So right now we're currently purchasing another 300 devices for each school, more devices for elementary to give them some devices too.
So let's talk a little bit about devices. I think we've changed from where we originally started. All students in grades 6 through 12 don't get a computer anymore. I think we've switched to a tablet. Tell us a little bit how y'all made that decision and how it's different from middle to high school.
Well, we went with iPads for grades 6 through 8, and then laptops for grades 9 through 12. The iPad works great for everything that a middle schooler student needs. It can get the apps, Office 365, which has Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, and then you have your Schoology. Those are all apps that can be used inside of the iPad. It's very mobile. It's very easy to use. You have the camera, which you can do a lot of projects with. But when we roll to the high school, we really feel that there'll be a much larger focus on writing, and at least there's bigger papers, larger papers you're going to be writing, and so that full-size laptop and keyboard we thought would be more necessary for them.
Now, Chris, we've also added some things to Houston Middle School. The Nearpod. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing at Houston Middle School.
So Nearpod is a pretty neat lesson delivery tool. So if you're not familiar with Nearpod, think about PowerPoint, but a PowerPoint that a teacher can deliver to students, have it appear on their devices as well as the teacher's device. The teacher controls it and sort of moves the slides along. It includes formative assessment tools such as polls and quizzes built into the presentation. Collaborative tools such as a sort of a little cork board or sticky note board where students can collaborate and put their notes up there all real time, and also virtual reality components so that there's built-in 360 videos and pictures where students can sort of take virtual field trips to different locations. So all that is in Nearpod, and teachers can use that to deliver their lessons.
So moving forward, and we talked about one-to-one initiative, do you think we'll always be with these devices, or do you think it's something that we're constantly going to be looking at about how they relate to teachers?
That's a great question. It's kind of funny that you think about how long ago iPads didn't exist, and so it's not strange to say that another 5 years it'll be a completely different device that we can't imagine right now. So, we went from smart boards to now we're looking at possibly just having TVs with teachers walk around with iPads. That way it's more mobile and they're projecting what they're putting up on TVs. And so things change so much, it's hard to predict what's going to be out there in another 5 or 10 years.
Well, thank you for helping us stay on the cutting edge of one-to-one technology, and we look forward to what you're going to do in the future. As the district moves forward with a true one-to-one environment and embraces blended learning, we're excited to see the changes that will unfold. Before we take a short break, we'll visit the German Folk Dancing Club during one of their rehearsals. They are highly sought after in performance schools and festivals all over the Memphis area. Back after this.
watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I am Superintendent Jason Manuel. Did you know that students from Germantown Municipal School District claim 57 separate birth nations and that there are over 60 different languages spoken by our students? Here today to discuss the vision of developing our students as global citizens, igniting the desire for international acceptance and curiosity, and head of the Foreign Language Department of Houston High School is Doreen Penrod and one of her students, Allison House. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, first, tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Penrod, because I think how you came to Houston High School is a little different path than how I came to Houston High School.
Well, I came via Germany.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up outside of Berlin in Germany, and I wanted to be an English teacher teaching English to German students. So I came over here to work on my English, lived a year in Minnesota, and came to Memphis to visit friends and met my husband. So I am here now teaching German to American students.
Well, how long have you been here at Houston High School?
Since 2000.
2000.
18 years.
Wow. Now, have you always taught German? Is that?
I did go to Kirby High School and taught 2 years there, and then I came here, the position opened, so
And
this
you-
is, I
and we
like
were blessed.
it, and I'm
We
going
were lucky to
stay.
have you come here. Well, tell us about you, Allison. So, when you were choosing a foreign language at
Right.
Houston High School, did you take a foreign language in middle school? Did
Yes, I took Spanish 1 in middle school.
You took Spanish 1. And so, what made you really decide to take German?
Well, I had heard really good things about the class, and I heard that Miss Penrod was awesome. And I also was just interested in Central Europe, and I thought it would be very cool to learn more about the European Union and about German. I thought it was just a really cool language. So
have you been happy so far?
yes, definitely. Well, I've made it all the way to AP, which is the 4th year, and I have, through German, had the opportunity to go to Germany. So I'm very happy I stuck with it. Yes.
Good. Well, this isn't just an ad for students to take German, as much as I know you love the German classes. Tell us a little bit about the Foreign Language Department at Houston High School, because we offer lots of choices. So if German's not your thing and that's not really what you want to do, they can take other foreign languages. Tell us.
Absolutely. We are a very dynamic department. We do offer 4 languages at Houston. French, German, Spanish, and Latin, and all 4 languages offer 4 years. The 4th year is an advanced placement course where the students can earn college credit, and all 4 languages have
Wow.
fantastic results in the AP exams. Spanish has 100% passing grades,
Wow.
so we're very proud of our students.
So they're not just taking it, they're also learning it well and getting college credit too.
Absolutely, and we have students, former students, going over to the countries where our languages are spoken, coming back saying, we had a job there, or
Wow.
I've just recently heard from Spanish students. There's somebody who models in Spain, somebody else is taking Spanish in Chile.
Oh, wow.
So I had a German student who worked over in Germany, came back, and is now working in Memphis, sharing his knowledge.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, they're not just performing well on the AP tests that they have too. Y'all also compete in competitions around the area, don't you? Tell us a little bit about the competitions that all of our departments compete in.
So all the languages
Yes.
compete in the national exam. For Latin, there are actually several national exams that they compete in.
Now, is that written or spoken?
There are different ones. For Latin, for example, there is a translation exam and several different written exams, and for the other languages, the national exams are written with listening, with a
Okay.
listening section on it, versus the AP exam, which also has speaking on it. We participate in the Foreign Language Fair at the University of Memphis, and that has all kinds of categories, like arts, crafts, speaking, singing, dancing, writing,
They have poetry.
poetry.
I think did you compete in poetry? Did you read a poem one year?
Yes, poetry recitation, yes.
So we have some new classes here at Houston in French. Is that correct? Is there a conversational French?
It's in Spanish.
It's in
There's
Spanish.
a conversational course in Spanish for level 3 and AP students.
So how is that different than the classes we've offered in the past?
It's a little more relaxing, and they specifically get to focus on the conversational part, which is what we need to be able to communicate and not just read. And this is also a class for students who finish early with their language requirement or with their AP course, so they can continue taking Spanish and not forget it until they start college.
Oh, that's good. Well, tell us a little bit about how you extend the learning outside of the classroom. So there are opportunities here at Houston High School with clubs. So if I really am passionate about German, tell us a little bit about the clubs that we offer here in foreign
So
language.
all the languages have a club. There's French, German, Spanish, and then the Latin club is the Junior Classical League. The French club is offering a new version, a new adventure called a Pause Cafe, which is a conversational club, and it is open to upper level students or any French speakers, including staff. So we also have honor societies for all the languages, which those societies honor the students who are excellent. The students participate in performances. They go to events, cultural events, so they get the exposure above and beyond what's happening in the classroom. And we also give back to the community. We adopt angel trees. The Junior Classical League, they adopt a highway, Germantown Parkway. They clean it up 4 times a year. The Spanish students donate or help with, for example, hurricane victims in Puerto Rico. So there is that.
So there's also a civic component to it.
Absolutely.
Also. Well, I know that what you're doing for students, and we didn't even get to talk about the travel abroad, that you get to take students abroad, that you're offering students opportunities here at the school, through their clubs, through competing. I can't thank you enough for what you do for your students, for you to do for my children, and I'm sure Allison would say the same thing, that you are doing incredible things here at Houston, so we thank you very much.
I feel privileged. Thank you.
There are a lot of exciting things happening in our district around international culture. After the break, we will check in with Coach David Wolff, who has just been named the National Coach of the Year by USA Today, and Jenna Kemp, the Tennessee Gatorade Player of the Year.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Now we are joined by Houston High School soccer player Jenna Kemp, who led the Mustangs to a 25-0 record in the Class AAA State Championship this past season. Jenna scored 20 goals and passed for 19 assists for a Houston team that outscored its opponents 117-9 on the season. And Coach David Wolff, who will enter this season with 683 combined victories and 12 state titles. Thank you all for being here. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got started with Houston Soccer. When did you come over?
Well, I got to tell you, it was you. I know that in 2003, I was at Ridgeway. I'd been there for about 9 years. And I was looking to make a change. And I communicated with you, and you said, why don't you come on over and be with the Mustangs, which for a long time had been an arch rival.
Yes. And you chose to come.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I'm thankful that you did.
Thanks.
Because you really have set the course for Houston soccer. Well, let's talk a little bit about you, Jenna. How did you get involved with soccer? How old were you when you first started playing? I know you may not be exact.
I was maybe 4 or 5, and I started with just like the church, so like OPH, and then I moved to the Legends, and now I'm at the Lobos still.
At Lobos. So you play club soccer year-round, so you're always doing
Yes, sir.
soccer. Now, was it always soccer, or did you do other sports besides that you
Yeah,
enjoyed
in the
too?
beginning I played basketball, softball, and I did some gymnastics, and then I broke my elbow, so I just
So that was
quit
the
all.
end of your
anything with
career?
arms. I was like, nope.
So what is it about soccer that you think you really drew you into the sport?
I mean, all the friendship we've made, so like all the teammates, I don't know, we're just always really close, and so it's family.
So if you were telling someone about why they'd want to play soccer for Houston, you talk about the friendships that you have on the team.
Yes, for sure.
Well, let's talk about this past season. Y'all had some incredible success, and it's not something that you haven't experienced before because y'all do have a tradition of excellence. Tell us about this past season.
Well, the season was one of those where we really didn't have the idea that the end result would have been there. It was game by game, and about halfway through we started to make it on the national polls, and then each week we would move up because other teams would lose. And I think with about 4 weeks left in the year, the USA Today named us #1, and that's really excruciating because keeping it is really a tough thing. But I think the concentration was always going to be, what were we doing today? And I keep saying that when people ask me, and it's all about the day. What are we doing today? How are we going to get better tomorrow? What is it? And then when the season was over, then you could go ahead and enjoy that process.
And it's really about what you can control.
Right.
All the other stuff you can't control.
And we tend to do that. We have a feeling like when we walk into those gates over there at the middle school that you have isolated yourself from the rest of the world and you are concentrating on that. I know that a lot of the neighbors around have witnessed a lot of soccer in that in that area, and some enjoy the lights going on and some don't enjoy the lights going on. But we know that when we're there that we can concentrate on what we can do and make ourselves better.
Well, Jenna, let's talk about you. So, what position you play on the soccer team?
Center mid.
Center mid. So you're scoring goals as you're coming forward out of the center mid position?
Yes, sir.
What type of formation do y'all run? And you'll have to explain it to some of the people watching.
So we have our goalie, and then we have 4 defenders, and then 3 midfielders, and then 3 forwards.
And so y'all have 3 midfielders, and you're the center mid. Do they rotate and shift positions?
It's basically like a triangle. So I'm mostly the point, and then there's 2 like holding mids.
And so y'all can rotate between the 2. How many forwards do y'all run?
3. So 2 outside and then 1 in the middle.
And so they're making runs come from that position. So when we talk about this past season, you also had success individually. Tell us about the award that you won.
Well, I won the Gatorade Player of the Year, and I couldn't have done it without Wolff and the teammates. So it's super special because I get to share with them too.
So how do they select the USA Player of the Year? Do they look at the?
Well, she received 2 honors. She received the All-American Award from the USA Today, but then she also won the Gatorade Player of the Year. Gatorade Player of the Year is not only from an athletic standpoint, but it's also character. And that is a really hard process because now that you get nominated and then they start questioning who you are. They ask for resumes. They ask for all of the information from people in the community. They ask for letters of recommendation. They do their homework, and so that has nothing to do with anything that we can control.
That's who she is.
Yeah, and we've had them in the past, and when we've had them, they all have one characteristic that's similar, and that is that they have nothing but strong character.
I think one of the things that's always impressed me about how you run your teams and what you do with your players is that you put them in situations that really increase the pressure.
Right.
That they know that expectation is for you to perform at your best at all times. Right. And I think that y'all took a trip this past year trying to do that exact thing. So you're not just looking at the local level. Tell us a little bit about the trip.
I could talk about this forever. One of the things that we really try to do is always elevate what we're doing. You know, we come out of the year where we're undefeated and people are saying, well, how are you going to get better? And the first thing that I thought was, because I had taken my boys to Manchester, is I took my girls to Manchester City. Mm-hmm. If anybody's watching or has Amazon and they want to see what that's about, you just go ahead and look at the 9-part series that they're running. But it's like night and day. What are we doing and what are they doing? And so as a coach, you got to, the most important thing is to realize you're not the best that there is, and that there are people out there that know more than you. And those people that are in Manchester not only taught me, but taught our players. And that was, I mean, it's a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your experience over there. So did you get to go on the trip?
Yes, sir.
So when we think about takeaways, what do you remember about that trip? What was surprising to you?
Definitely the memories we made. I mean, we got to go to this castle. It was like Warwick Castle, and 2 of the girls actually like bought swords and started sword fighting. So definitely those memories.
So do you have plans to play soccer once you leave high school?
Yes, sir.
What are your plans? What do you want to do?
I'm going to Ole Miss to play soccer.
Are you really?
Yes, sir.
So when you talk about that, have you gone to camps that they have for Ole Miss leading up to it? Or how did they choose you, and how did you really get in touch with them?
So basically, we can email them and tell them to come to our games, but they can't contact us. So they'll come to our club games and just check us out. And if they really want us, they'll tell us to come on a visit, or we'll go to camp, and so we can talk to them and stuff like that. So.
Well, we look forward to seeing how this year is going to end for you at Houston High School, and also what you're going to do once you move on to Ole Miss.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thanks.
The sustained level of excellence happening on the field with our nationally recognized soccer program is incredible. And this season, it'll be exciting to watch. Well, that's all we have time for on this month's Spotlight on Excellence. If you'd like more information about this or any other show on Germantown Municipal Television, visit us on our website at www.gmtvonline.org. Until next time, this has been Superintendent Jason Manuel for this month's installment of the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence.